Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jay Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are thrilled to have Dr. Brandi Baldwin, the CEO of Millennial Ventures and Future Leadership Network, joining us.
Jay,
Dr.
thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here today.
An absolute pleasure. And just a little bit of background for our listeners here on you, Brandi. I know that you are being the CEO of so many different types of companies here. You bring in a powerful blend of expertise as a leadership psychologist, former Wharton lecturer, social impact entrepreneur, also based in New York with operations in Philadelphia, Millennial Ventures and Future Leadership Network, founded in 2016, revolutionizing how professionals prepare for the future of work through leadership development, diversity and inclusion, and professional branding. Looking forward to really exploring your founding story, Brandi. So let's go ahead and get into it.
All right, let's do it.
I love it. So take us back to the beginning, Brandi. For our listeners here, what specific problem in the leadership or diversity landscape really inspired you to start Millennial Ventures and Future Leadership Network?
Well, you know what? Honestly, the origin story is really more personal for me. Literally, when I was about to give birth to my first child, I was slated to go out on maternity leave. And I asked my employer at the time, after I gave birth, we found out there were some health challenges. And I said, can I extend my maternity leave? Is there something I can do? And the answer pretty much was no.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, I'm one of the best employees, and I've done all the things. And that really was my first lesson in understanding that leaders can really have an impact on their employees in a big way, not just day in and day out on the job, but even have an impact really in our personal lives. And so I literally was forced into entrepreneurship at that time because I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. And
Yeah.
so one of the things, though, that sparked me into going into leadership development, organizational development, was my understanding that at the time that a lot of leaders that I saw with a title, they actually did not have the character of leaders. And so I was wondering, how is it that as a professional in the workforce, we encounter so many people with the titles that are in charge, that have the power, but they really are not operating like that day in and day out. And so I started, of course, bootstrap my company. I tell people I flip-flop strapped because I didn't even have enough to bootstrap it. And I started off doing the only thing that I could be seen as being credible at doing at the time, which is training and development. I wanted to be this big corporate consultant, which 17 years ago, at the time when all of this happened, the model was to work for 30, 40 years, retire and become a consultant. And I was in my 20s, right? And so at the time I said, how am I going to be able to do this? And one of my advisors in my master's program at the time said, you're a great communicator. You do the best presentations. Start off by being a trainer. And that is how I began working with corporations, training them on leadership development. And it has been a journey ever since. But that's an evolution of Millennial Ventures.
Love it. I love it. So with that, and obviously building so many different brands and companies, I know a main focus of yours is the Future Leadership Network. So walk us through the nuts and bolts for our listeners, especially our listeners having the opportunity to come and work with you with the Future Leadership Network. Talk to us about how it's generating revenue today, Brandi, as far as the core offer goes, right? What do your clients expect to see when they come to you to work with Future Leadership Network?
So literally, we have thrown the playbook out of the window when it comes to the Futures Leadership Network, and we're all about trying to figure out what type of leadership development is required for the future of work. So we believe that every single professional, whether you have the title or not, needs to lean into their leadership identity, and that employers have to be in developing their entire workforce as leaders. Now, PwC did a report back in 2017, their first future of work report. They were talking about AI back then, a lot of things that really didn't make much sense to me, but it has all come to fruition. And one of the things they said was that the one thing that can't be automated is leadership. That's going to be the number one skill of the future. So we started around 2016, and ever since then, we took that report really to heart to come up with a model. Now, the core offer is crazy, and I thought we wouldn't be able to do it, but it's turned out to be something that's gaining some traction. We are literally creating a scalable solution for employers to develop their leaders by launching leadership communities, whether they have frontline employees, whether it's their managers, whether it's their new professionals. Every single employee can enroll in an employer sponsored leadership community, and they will receive leadership coaching, leadership development. We call it the SOS career line, career help. And what we're doing is two things. Number one, we are shifting the focus from employees thinking that in the future of work, companies are going to be responsible for their development. That's not it anymore. Individuals have to be responsible for their own development, and you can't keep complaining if your employer is not going to do that for you. So in these leadership communities, we're helping them to learn how to be independent in terms of what they're doing and how they're controlling their career. The second thing is employers can only manage and support and lead so many people. Usually it's the executives first. Maybe it'll trickle down to the managers. Everybody else may be able to participate in a quarterly event.
Mhm.
And so one of the things we're doing that makes this different is the employers, the companies who we work with, they literally barely have to lift a finger. It's our team, it's our coaches, it's our facilitators that are managing everything. It's literally a turnkey solution and all they have to do is do an internal communications plan to inform and make everyone aware of this, and their employees can literally enroll and start their leadership development in like hubs, pods, groups, communities, whatever you want to call it, and get that leadership development for a fraction of what it would cost doing it another way.
So from what it sounds like to me, you have a consulting and a coaching kind of built into one. So you're consulting with the business, getting in, building a plan for them, and then providing coaching to their employees on the leadership front.
Exactly.
Absolutely incredible model. I absolutely love that. So what's working best for you then, Brandi, right now for acquiring new clients for,
Okay.
for the business?
Yes. So you actually mentioned this a little bit in the intro. There's so much disruption happening. We got diversity and inclusion has been blown up into smithereens, and a lot of companies are shifting. So I think the couple of things that has been happening working for us. Number one, speaking to the people leader, chief people officer, speaking to the human resource leaders, chief human resource officers, and those company leaders who are in charge of company culture. This is really a culture build. This is a sustainability play. This is an employee engagement play beyond leadership development. I think the thing that's been helping that I would recommend, even with futures and anything else we do at Millennial Ventures, is keeping it simple in terms of what does the company have to do. Okay, we used to actually do full-blown consulting projects 9, 10, 12 months at a time, and we were too much in the weeds. It's almost, and many of your listeners will know this that are consultants, you feel like you have become an employee of the company by the time you work that way. In this new model, what's been helping is articulating to the organization that all they need to do is an internal communications plan, make their employees aware. All they need to do is the assessment that we give them to see where their needs are, where the priorities, which segments of their workforce really are going to need that leadership development at scale,
Mm.
and let us do the rest of the work. And so what I have found in B2B, which is my sweet spot, working with organizations, is that it takes longer for that. We all know B2B, it can take months to close the contracts and it takes all this time. It's because you don't take care of the logistics. If
Right.
you can understand how to make the logistics of getting launched as simple as possible, you can close the deals faster. That has been working for us. Yes, the burden and the load is on us, but it's worth it because we can close the contracts faster. Last thing I will add is the team. What we have decided to do post COVID and readjusting our models with Futures Leadership Network is we're really leaning into I don't want to call it the gig economy, but this entrepreneurial edge that is present in the 9 to 5 worker. And so our consultants, our coaches, the majority of our core talent are contractors. They can get in, they can get out. We just fill their calendar with which sessions they need to do for the different companies. And that helps us stay lean, where really our core operating team is focused on client relations, marketing, of course, sales, but we're able to move very quickly, nimbly, and stay lean on the capital front by doing
Yeah.
that. So the company is going to pay us, and then we launch their team, however big it needs to be, in order to get the job done.
Incredible. So as far as that side goes, are you doing anything around ads or social media, organic to continuously have predictable leads coming in for yourself?
No, in all honesty, Jay, but that is really going to be the next thing that I think is on our list in terms of scaling. What I have found with B2B sales, ads are great, of course, just to generate leads in that sense, but we have found that it has given us a lot more traction if we get in the rooms where the power players are. We're going straight to the top. We need to be around CEOs, executives of multi-million dollar corporations. So I'm spending my time networking, getting in the rooms, traveling, flying. It's a little bit of a different finesse. What I will say that ads can do, just something practical, tactical, tangible, is really to start to prime the masses, so to speak, for the employees that oh my gosh, have you heard about Future? This is what they do. So that by the time we get in, they've heard about us more on a B2C type of strategy. So I think it'll be worth us considering investing in terms of the repeatable, predictable leads that we can get in terms of our client acquisition process. But right now with B2B, we've tried a little bit more high touch that I think has helped in the long run.
I love it. I love that. And then you mentioned you have a bit of a sales team that is in place to continuously get those in going
Yeah.
through. So what is a bottleneck that you can think about right now that's stopping you a bit from that growth, or you're powering through for growth and scale, whether it be lead generation, converting those leads into clients, delivering services with your current capacity on the fulfillment side? What does that look like?
So good there. I think the biggest thing is going to be consistent talent, consistent contractor. The opposite side of a contractor and a consultant is that they're working for everybody. They're working with other organizations. So I think onboarding, getting talent vetted and deploying them is going to be something that we have to continue to improve upon. The good thing is with technology, it took us about 6 months last year. We pretty much shut down operations, so to speak, in terms of not taking on any new clients, just to automate, just to get AI up to date. So that has helped, but we definitely have to do a better job of refining and optimizing our consultant contractor process for sure.
No, it definitely makes sense there. And obviously, with the way that you're looking at things and just innovating, it's clear as day that you're going to continue to get there and have an amazing
Yeah.
team in place for your clients. So let's talk about that a bit, right? Paint a picture for us here, Brandy, of really what you're focused on priority wise over the next 6 to 12 months. So the rest of the year, how are you picturing it? Whether you have any specific revenue targets, performance goals, impact goals, what are you really locked in on here for continuing to scale?
Sure. So one of the things that we have found, I'm not sure if you ever heard of the book Oversubscribed. Are you familiar with that book?
I actually have not. I'll have to look into it.
Got to look it up. It's the art of being oversubscribed. And so, what we've decided to do this year, and I'm looking forward to being 100% in deploying this, is we are only accepting clients really on a quarterly basis. And so, we're building in the lead time that it takes in order to really close B2B clients. It may actually take 4 months or longer, but what we're doing is we're actually saying we're not even enrolling right now for you to start right away. We're enrolling for January 2026,
Mm.
we're enrolling for October. What that has done is operationally, it helps us be efficient, streamline. We can control the growth, number one. And then what we're able to do is if we're charging $50,000 per community that they launch, depending on the size of the organization, we're able to have enough time for talent planning and things like that. So we want to get the money in on the front end. And so our goals and targets right now are quarterly by quarter where hey, we want to onboard 10 new clients, minimum $50,000 to $65,000 per community that they're launching. And then we need the deposits, right? We need to sign on the bottom line. And then that lets us be able to activate and deploy the teams that are going to be needed to service them. But we're having that window instead of just a constant cycle of onboarding and starting and onboarding and starting, especially since what we've learned over the years is that for B2B, we always have a start target date. Inevitably, it gets moved back by no fault of anyone's, but it's just the nature. So we
Yeah.
built that in. And I think that it's been helping so far, but we're not at scale with that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that would do for us as just an innovative strategy.
I absolutely love that. So, talk to me a little bit about what you're looking at, Brandy, of about the leadership development in the diversity industry and its evolution in the coming years. How are you really positioning yourself and the company to really take advantage of that evolution?
One of the things that I thought about a couple months ago was what is my platform? Like you mentioned earlier, doing a little bit of, I'm honestly a serial entrepreneur, right? A
Yep.
little bit of this, a little bit of that. And one of the things that I landed on was this phrase, taking on the enemies of our future. That's really what I believe my role as CEO at Millennial Ventures and everything that we're doing. There are true and real enemies of our future with the economy, with mental health, instability, and all the things. And even outside of, I'm not tried and true a diversity inclusion gal, but I'm an organizational development. That's my background. And this is about how can we make sure that as we are entering into the abyss of the future of work, how can we make sure that people have the skills that they need in order to survive? Because quite frankly, if you're not showing up as a leader, you will be extinct. And so we really see ourselves as a little bit of an ark. The flood is coming, it already started to drizzle, and we need to figure out how to be leaders in how do we look at things differently. And as I mentioned earlier, what we have found is that, and I don't know why, but people are like, I don't see myself as a leader. I'm trying to become a leader. I'm trying to, no, you are a leader. It's your character. It's how you show up.
Yeah.
That has really been helping and resonating with the clients that we work with, of saying, wow, we actually can have an entire culture of leaders. And what that naturally does is it gets rid of the people who are there really trying to take advantage in organizations that are taking the organizations down. It's a culture shift. It's a mindset shift. Right now, I'm watching TikToks ad nauseum of people just complaining and griping about their employers because it's hard out here. So we don't want to dismiss that. But I believe that there's so much we can do. Now, let me just say this and add that to this entire discussion, because I know I actually love the Closers podcast, Founders Future podcast, listen to some episodes, and we are still small business.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage listeners that are small business like myself, getting it out the mud every month, to figure out ways to innovate their processes and not to be afraid to do things outside of the box, because it's all dog eat dog right now. This is a perfect storm, I would say, for any type of service providers to be able to go way out the box with what they're doing. And we've implemented that over at another brand that we launched, Unleash Leadership, which is same thing, flipping everything on its head. It's been a great journey so far.
Just incredible. So I just have one more question for you to wrap us up in the lightning round here, Brandi, and that's going to be for our listeners. With the amount of experience, a plethora of experience, and just your energy, your aura is incredible. It's clear as day why you have so much success. What kind of advice can you offer to our listeners tuning in right now to guide them on their journey, whether they're just starting out in business or in the middle or small, medium, big, but what can you offer them with how much experience you have here?
I would say for me, my issue early on was that I was too smart for my own good. Had the bachelor's, had the master's, had the PhD. And so I took the principles of what makes you a successful student and applied them to entrepreneurship and was broke and failed miserably. As a student, you do not turn the report in until it is almost perfect. You do research before you go out. Honestly, and we've all heard it before, but I just want to reiterate the importance. Just sell something. Just ask somebody to buy something from it. Literally is all about sale. That's why I love just closers. Like, you just have to close, but you can't get to the point of closing if you don't begin with an offer, if you don't begin with inviting someone to become more aware of a service that you have. There's a coach out there, Coach Michael Burt. He says, money gets exchanged when problems get solved. It's literally just that simple. What problem can you solve consistently and guarantee consistent results for someone? And there is someone right now out there frustrated, sleepless nights, crying, wishing that you would appear with their answer to their problem. And for me, I was scared of sales because I had a perfectionism issue. And then I said, you know what? The reason why you're scared of selling is because you're self-centered instead of being service-centered. Focus on the fact that if you have a product that can help people, why wouldn't you want to help as many people as possible, as consistently as possible? So I would say at every iteration of business, even when we're launching out and doing new things, like we recently pivoted with Futures Leadership Network, I was scared again. Oh, we're trying something new. But is it going to help? Do you really feel that it can help others and solve a problem? Then let's get to it. And so that's what I would say as just a takeaway.
I love it. I love it. With that right there, that's going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Brandi, thank you so much for coming on this show. An incredible journey this far. Again, clear as day how intelligent and knowledgeable and just how much passion you have for what you're doing, sharing your insights with us. It truly was a pleasure to have you on the show. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also check out Millennial Ventures at millennialventures.com for their leadership and branding services, and follow Dr. Brandi on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/the Dr. Brandi. For more resources and insights, visit closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.